maybe if they had secured any of the grubs early on, maybe we would have been in that position.
That's true.
So we're getting into game 2. LGD now on the blue side here. Interesting to see.
Still on the blue side.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, I guess they get blue side both games. Okay, well, now we get to see the first pick. There's no Gwen, there's no Nefiri. My eyes, again, Vi, very big pickup for either one of these junglers, and seems to be kind of pick of the litter once we get through first round, first games.
Yeah, the Vi was something that we specifically were targeting for Nayo. Want to make sure that this guy, on his first series with this new LGD team, first series in the LPL in 2025, is on some comfort, and so getting that champion, which is very highly prized overall, is going to be important. We've seen Tryndamere around here for players like Linfeng in the LPL, but it's going to be that Sion that you were talking about, Alk, and I think you're pretty happy about that one. That was one of those that you suggested going in.
Yes, Hery on carries. I mean, you can even see just a majority of that Gnar game, he was just standing around. He was like the ultimate cardio player of all time, to quote Yanni and Cubby. So, gonna be looking forward to what he can do in this game. Now with the Poppy, they have a very resilient front line. What I'm gonna be looking for from OMG is what real damage, like 1v9 carries you're gonna have, because if LGD do end up taking this Azir, that is something that is gonna be away from Linfeng. And so looking in terms of the jungle matchup, or in terms of mid, are they really going to try to opt for a Talia on 3? That kind of becomes a little bit questionable, especially early on with a Vi and an Azir.
I feel like a Talia, honestly, here works really well. All three of these champions for the top side of LGD have dashes that can be interrupted here by both the steadfast presence of the Poppy and the Unraveled Earth of a Talifa comes out, but it's going to be an Ahri instead for Linfeng, which provides a little bit of that roaming potential, the ability to really be a vehicle for allowing a player like Starry, who we have not selected as champion yet, to have some success.
Okay, this entire second phase of ban is probably going to be towards AD carries. I would expect at least one support shout, just because with Nautilus and Rail taken, Alistar, Leona do start to gain in priority here. Leona probably a little less so for a team like LGD when there is a Poppy in the enemy team, but still. OMG though, I mean, perfect amount of front line. You do have a really deadly 2v2 in mid jungle with this Ahri and Poppy early on, so I'll be interested to see. LGD though, their backline access is basically premium. I like that now with Ezreal and Xayah gone, there's not many AD carries that can stay particularly safe on the side of OMG. Please, bro, there are three champions who are going to be gunning for you on repeat. Don't do this.
And not a lot of peel, really, for OMG. I mean, I'm getting flashbacks to that game that they played in against Top Esports, where Starry got 10 kills on the Jinx and just got dove with the rest of his team all kind of betraying him. A little bit of mobility with the Corki will help at least a tad, as it looks like OMG are going to save that last pick for Moham once again. Opens up, though, for some possibilities for LGD. They already have a ton of damage in their kit, so they could go more utility-oriented, they can go more lane-oriented, and the Caitlyn is going to try to help them dominate that 2v2 against Starry and Moham.
Alistar feels a little bit bad. I'm kind of coming back around on my Leona pick here. I think the non-conditional engage with the ultimate is definitely nice. They do need someone who's going to be able to frontline. Doesn't seem like that's the case. So LGD, who's going to be buying space for Caitlyn and this Azir? This is a pretty risky comp coming in from LGD. They need to be able to play range perfectly. They need to make sure that they're taking space really, really well and playing around Caitlyn and Nico.
Whoa.
Okay, we're getting Moham on the Elise. All right, this is going to be a game of all time. For all the fans in chat, I wish you best of luck for your channel points, dog, because this is going to be all over the place. I can already tell.
Moham and Elise support, to me, is immediately a red flag if you're OMG. He's either going to go 10-0 or like 0-25, I feel like, in this game. That is the flip and the stark contrast on both the champion and the player here for this one. I'm curious to see how this is going to work out, because right now LGD's bot lane purely set up to try to outpoke this 2v2 lane, whereas if you're Starry and Moham now, you kind of have to go like fully all in onto one of these carries early.
Yeah, it does mean that probably Nico is going to be the first instance, so YCX does need to be a little bit careful. And what we need to see, I think, from the side of OMG is you do have some scaling elements. This Elise is going to be on a timer, but you look across from them, And there's not very many people that are going to be able to, you know, tank an Elise Cocoon or a Poppy going in. So I do really favor OMG as this game goes on. I think the fact that Ahri is going to have so many ways of being very mobile, it just now comes down for LGD is what summoner spells and how are they landing their ultimates. Because a Public Execution and a Vi ultimate probably turns into 1 or 2 members dead, but on the crackback, what happens then? You've lost all of your spells. You've now lost your ability to really kind of forward that engage, and eventually you're going to have to deal with a Scion and a Poppy who are going to just get so incredibly tanky as the game goes forward.
Yeah, unless Caitlyn gets really ahead. As somebody who plays a decent amount of Scion, as a champion that I typically like running down a side lane and killing 20 minutes into the game. So that is potentially in the cards for Hery if LGD is not able to get off to a good start. So that is what we're looking at early on here in this game. LGD with their backs against the wall here in this series as we head into game 2 of this best of 3.
So, in my mind, Scion versus Ambessa should be like vaguely Scion favored.
It's tough. The Ambessa, like you can dash away from things. You know, the Q is very difficult to land early in the laning phase. And so, I think generally, like, I haven't played too much of this matchup, but I think this is one that Ambessa is able to do pretty well in.
The way that I visualize Scion is that he doesn't really care. He's just kind of like, cool, so you're going to push the minion wave because you're going to try and use spells on me in the minion wave. And then I will just press W. I will first back and hit Plated Steel Caps or a Bramble Vest, and you will just simply have to lose the game and cry to your jungler. But we'll have to see. You know, plenty of... This is going to be a grasp with the dying Ambessa. They have moved their bottom lane here. They have spotted Nio, so he just gets completely booted off his jungle, and he wastes time? Oh, no. Oh, God.
And no option here, or no decision from LGD to do anything else. It does mean that the Caitlyn lane will get an early start to the push, but they were going to get that anyway here. And now Heng actually going to go for a level 2 gank here onto YCX. Already that Cocoon and the Ignite landing here, as Moham, though, is getting a little bit low here. Heng coming over here with the heroic charge as Starry is forced to try to catch this wave that is crashing underneath the turret. Lethal Tempo has been procced here by Shaoye, but misses out on that Piltover Peacemaker, which means that Heng will survive.
Okay, I mean, he gets to just go back to his jungle. I think it's fine for the time being. I like what Nio was actually doing here. He, again, showcased a little bit of creative pathing. Instead of going from his top side and then clearing bottom lane, he's actually going to be able to catch 2 of his camps here and immediately go back down. So, or go back up towards top lane. Maybe an answer in the mid lane, especially if we're talking about Ahri very early on.
Yeah, we already see Starry and Moham also missed out on a lot of XP for going for that play. And because they didn't get a kill, it means that Heng and Nio are basically on the same timer in terms of their clears. In fact, it's Nio actually going for a little bit of an invade himself, and maybe a dive in the works in the bottom lane if things go their way. It looks like he's going to spot out the blue buff not being taken, as Heng didn't want to be hung around there for too long, and so it will mean that Nio actually gets another camp in response, maybe even the better end of this trade.
That's a pretty big win, I think, coming in for Nio on this Vi. So showcasing some good pathing early on and adapting to some tricky situations here. He's going to immediately just cross through the river, utilize Sauce's priority from the top lane, try to cut Heng away from some of these other jungle camps on this side of the map. I love what we're getting from LGD in the jungle. Even last game, I had some question marks about his mechanics, but so far early on, he has been at least really receptive to changing up the idea of what he needs to do on this Vi, and mostly covering for his lanes while also stopping Heng from getting much done.
And that's great to see here for a new player here on LGD, because we both thought that Climber was one of the more exciting pieces on this LGD roster, one that had 4 rookies on it, but was potentially still, you know, full of the opportunity for levels of success. And seeing him get benched, you know, a couple hours before our call time was a little bit surprising, because we were like, oh wow, I thought that Climber was going to be like a big piece of this team, and so this Nio guy better play pretty well, and so far he is doing that here for LGD.
For sure. So far, we'll have to see if this continues and if they can also just grab themselves a win. It's been a while since LGD have really been able to kind of take series, so going to need to see a bit of improvement, and hopefully the fresh blood in the jungle is something that's going to be able to provide that for them. They do have vision of Heng as he resets, but both bottom lanes immediately appearing into the top side. To me, this feels like LGD are going to be a little bit late to this Grubs in a minute's time. You already see that Nayo is pathing up and trying to flip his path to end on the top side of the map. Heng is going to be behind there by about 10 to 15 seconds.
Yeah, so we'll see if the Dragon becomes the focus here. The Grubs also available, or who ends up dropping into camp. Try to make sure that they're there for their team first around one of these neutral objectives. Is another relatively slow start to this game, kind of like what we saw in game number 1. However, it was around this point where the game did start to blow open here. Shaoye and YCX still getting the better end of the 2v2 as they are up about 10 CS. The lane swap did not really result in much change overall. And I think we're just waiting for these Grubs to spawn. Both mid laners now hitting level 6, both teleports available for the top laners on the bottom side. Those Grubs going to become very, very important here in this game.
Okay, so Moham gets control of the Tri-Brush for now, but I mean, Nico plus Caitlyn just completely delete mini waves for free. Oh, Linfeng's just going on to XQW.
Yeah, lands a charm. Heng here as well. Pops the steadfast presence, but look at Nayo. He's there first. And so that's first blood going over to LGD. Heng now in a 1v2. He's only level 4. One more auto attack would have taken out XQW, but he's not able to pick it up. Nayo will shut him down with a Vault Breaker and make it 2-0 LGD.
Linfeng just needed to wait at the very least. You've already forced some of the summoner spells out from your mid laner. Now it's just 2 kills over to LGD. They'll also grab these early Grubs. Great opener here from LGD in the mid jungle.
Oh my goodness. That was a little bit of a misplay from both Heng and
A little?
Linfeng in that play. Or yeah, maybe a little bit more than a little bit. As we have an ultimate pop here onto the Scion as well. Sasi trying to get some damage down onto Hery. Q will be available to chunk him out, but he's still a Scion. He's still going to be able to chunk up a lot of stuff, as with that 2v2 kill, it will be also Nayo picking up those Grubs.
Heng is in the top lane. Are they going to look for something here? Oh, that is the
cocoon.
Oh, he's just dead.
That's the all-in that they wanted, and here comes Heng. Will he be able to find this kill? But no! It's Shaoye picking up the kill onto Starry first, and now Moham is running as far as he possibly can, but the Peacemaker will shut him down. It's a double kill for Shaoye, and it's quickly 4-1 LGD.
All right, well, the game plan has gone from good to worse here for the side of OMG, as now Caitlyn's going to be at least have a little bit of time to recall here, gets a pretty big wave crashed under the turret, and now we're starting to see LGD, they have really good early games. This is kind of where the power spike for this team is going to lie within the first couple of items here particularly. We're going to replay this mid lane play. Linfeng, you have no mana. Why are we doing
dash
this?
again. Yeah.
Yeah, like you dash in, you know that he has ultimate, at least at the very least. And this is, I think, Heng just misses an auto. I think he cancels it.
Like twice. Yeah,
oh,
he did it twice.
No. He has 10 HP. He literally has 10 HP on top. Oh, well.
That's a crazy
again,
cocoon as well,
yeah,
by the way.
Yeah. This fight, good job from Shaoye just stepping on forward. He recognizes he has enough damage, and there's so much priority going over to YCX. Is a very good start for LGD in their bottom lane.
So they find themselves up 1,500 gold. We'll say it's a very similar situation that OMG was in game number 1, Alk, and they ended up not having the cleanest mid game after that. And so LGD are going to have to make sure they hunker down and put up a good performance for the rest of this game if they want to force a decider here in this series, the first series for both of these teams in Group Ascension. As with those major objectives both going over to LGD, it puts them at a good start, but still some more work to do.
And this is going to be really important these next couple of minutes, because 2 minutes from now is going to be the Grubs for the next Dragon, but I am looking at that top side objective. No flash on YCX will make it very difficult for him to find, any kind of flash pop blossom plays. So in that time, that does mean that OMG get a little bit of relief, and potentially they can try to leverage one part of their side lane. Remember, we are looking at these 2 solo lanes for OMG to really get a lot of use as this game goes forward, because there is no front line or official front line here for LGD.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting thing to watch, because in Best of I, they could be like semi front line, but at the end of the day, they also want to be pressing the R button onto the backline carries. That leaves a lot of opportunity for things like this here on to Starry. That's both of the ultimates used, and it does result in the 5th kill for the blue side.
Now the little bit of recall, just move over to the top side of the map. Great find coming in as well. at least buy some time for Sasi to probably get one more wave here, especially with YCX reinforcing his side of the map. And these are not optimal lanes you really want to be opting into as OMG. The Scion just giving a free laning phase or some more free farm over to XQW, mostly just holding this lane. And Linfeng not feeling enough pressure to be able to go in and maybe find some damage down onto Shaoye. So, and we don't even have the Rod of Ages yet. God, I wish that I'm ready for this build to go away.
It is very strong.
Yes, but this is like
playing.
tank Jace. If you remember, I hated tank Jace because I thought it was antithetical to the champion.
That is true.
This is another thing where like Ahri's not meant to do this.
Yeah, we're supposed to build like Ludens and play burst mages. But
I'm supposed to one-shot someone and then at like 35 minutes complain that tanks are broken. You know, like this is.
but also when it's 25 minutes into the game and you're level 16, it feels pretty good. So you have to give him that.
True.
Anyway, 2,500 gold lead right now for LGD. They might not be getting to that point of the game right now. If you're an OMG fan, you got to make sure, try to find some opportunities to win some fights. Might see it here up in the top side as our mid laners are going at it. Linfeng chunking down XQW very low. That is coming at the same time as these grubs have respawned. It will mean that XQW has to go back. He does have the teleport though, as it looks like neither side too eager to start this one up just yet.
Okay. But they just gave up control of this bush. I mean, Hery gets to walk up. He'll put a ward down. They'll have an idea as to where this Nico is. Now they definitely know. And Linfeng sitting on the flank. Sasa needs to find Starry here. Maybe XQW can do something.
He got hit up by Decimating Smash. Meanwhile, Linfeng get chunked out, forced to stash away. That's 2 grubs at least picked up for OMG, but now it looks like they are on the defensive. Nico ultimate still available. Public execution. Lands in onto Hery. He will be the sacrificial Scion. Takes a lot of damage here. The Soul Furnace buying some time, but it is XQW to pick up the kill.
Yeah, this could have been way worse for the side of LGD, and I think Linfeng's just dead now. Yeah, Azir's on his way. Nayo's coming.
Not a lot of damage. Does have the flash just available off of cooldown, but it's far too late at this point. Looks like Nayo, the good jungler here, wants to make some good relationships to start off his first series with the team. Says, hey, XQW, have this one. He's now 3-0.
There's a freebie, so Azir's really accelerated. You needed to find early plays as this Ahri and Poppy to make this game feel a little bit more close, but you're looking at those item completions. I mean, Sasa completing the Eclipse a little bit ago, and now you have first items for XQW and Shaoye. You're going to be feeling very good for not only this play now with 4 grubs, but also, if you really want to, you already have your bottom lane down here. We can play for Dragon, too.
Why not? You're up so far that it doesn't matter if maybe you don't have the fastest, quickest timing. Just works pretty well if you are LGD. Nayo is on the way. XQW just pummeling onto this tier 1 tower as plates are going every which way for LGD, who want to force a game number 3 in this series in the Nirvana group, as we get a nice little cancel from Heng as the dragon is spawning in 5 seconds.
All right, Hery's moving first. This is adventurous.
OMG, they want to start the fight first. Oh my goodness, Shaoye gets bursted down before the unstoppable onslaught from Hery even comes in. So that's the 80 carry for LGD down. He dies without having any summoner spells available to him, and that means that OMG get first dibs on this Drake.
Okay, good job. How much can XQW? I think at this point, like, yeah, have Nayo hold down this mid lane, maybe stop them from re-entering this side of the map very easily. Sasa is looking, but at 60% HP. Are they going to try to make a play with YCX and Flash Pop Blossom? I think it's tough.
No, at this point it's not worth it, especially after the Dragon's already gone over. Unless you just find a random catch on a Moham, which they might have been able to do. Meanwhile, XQW, he's been chilling up here on the top side. He is getting stronger and stronger by picking up these waves and these plates, but it does mean that he's not here to potentially help his team out in a fight.
Well, he also just 1v1'd Linfeng, because Linfeng was having a hard time. Are we fighting this, guys?
The 2-man keeper's verdict from Heng, charge in the wall as well. YCX forced to flash away, and so is Nayo. Don't think that was worth it for potential contestant of a blue buff, in my opinion, but it will mean that 2 summoner spells are already burned, and Hery is going to be fine on this top side as well.
I think that's a pretty big win coming in from OMG, consider with all the factors that we're seeing here. We get a replay finally of this play here. This is just the 2v2 that I was talking about. It wasn't exactly the Ahri, but having the Elise as well as the Poppy make it very, very deadly to walk around into terrain, to walk into choke points versus these 2 champions. So good snap coming in from the side of OMG. And like we were saying, XQW has been having a pretty strong handle on the matchup between him and Linfeng here. Half a level over his opponent, now level 11 on the Sazir, and 2,000 gold to his name. He finishes that Nashor's Tooth, and suddenly, not only objectives, but also standoffs where they're just looking across at your opponent are going to feel very, very good if you are LGD.
Yeah, and it's a similar story to where we were putting Linfeng in game number 1, right? When he was 4-0 on the Aurora, we were like, okay, you have all the gold, you have all the resources, what can you do with it? Because we haven't necessarily seen Linfeng do much with those before, but he was able to actually have himself a very good game and actually drag OMG to that game 1 win. Gonna need to see the same thing from XQW. It's nice that you have this advantage right now, but it's about what you do with it, how you're able to take advantage of the lead that you have over your opponent.
And I love what Hery's doing here. You have so much health, why not? Just use it as a resource, walk in, allow your team to clear vision, although I don't know how important bottom lane vision is. I know you want to try to at least stop XQW from maybe hitting this turret for free, but with a Herald on the opposite side, with this team having 4 grubs already plus the Sazir, I think maybe putting some of your efforts towards the top side and dropping this might be a little bit more fruitful.
Essentially on the cards here, XQW just picking up another one of those tier 1 turrets. So he is getting very strong on the Sazir. The gold continuing to go into his pocket. You can see he's 2,000 gold currently ahead of Linfeng on the Ahri. So gonna be a big bird. And now the last of the outer turrets is in the mid lane. It looks like the rest of LGD are trying to take this one down. The Caitlyn lane, the traditional, very nice siege composition, as you can also see the poke damage that XQW is able to inflict on the Moham like we were talking about.
Starting up this Herald, Moham has to take a recall after taking too much damage from XQW and YCX. You perfectly noted it there. I think having this siege comp when you're already ahead and this Azir is literally a monster in this game, the true emperor of the Rift right now. He is just way too ahead, and so it'll be up to, if you're an OMG fan, you're looking at Linfeng and Heng. Can they get into the back line? Can they disrupt this Azir? It's only going to get tougher from here. He's going to get more HP. He's going to have higher base stats. Linfeng is nowhere near close to finishing a second item, it would appear, at least until this recall is finished. So by the time he gets to like his damage spikes, my worry is that LGD will be too far ahead at that point.
Yeah, and we're seeing them try to continue to snowball that lead in the mid lane. As the Rift Herald gets procced, likely we'll be able to take down this tier 1 turret. Looks like Nayo is going to help it out by driving it straight on into that tier 1, combined with the Pop Blossom onto the Poppy as Heng actually gets bursted down. And now Hery's in the middle of everything, and it's a bad spot right now for OMG. They instantly lose 2. Hery's still alive on the front line, and the 2 carries for OMG are as well. But it's not a good situation for them as they also just lose 2 at the cost of that turret going down for them.
I just don't understand what OMG is doing here. This is the OMG that we saw throughout all of Split 1 and even into Split 2 placements. Just feels lost. Just feels like, what exactly are we doing here? I get the idea coming out of the Herald. You want to try to use the Keeper's Verdict or the W to make sure that you kind of stop them in their tracks, but you have no way of reinforcing. Sion is not even here until after you're already kind of in position. And it's a really good ultimate coming in from YCX to open that up. So now we're in this game state where 2-item Azir, almost 2-item Caitlyn, and you're going to be looking at even the rest of the top side of this LGD that do so much damage that they don't really care that they don't have a front line. They can just delete your back line, and then OMG are just standing there like, oh, okay, well, now we don't do any damage, and we lose the fight. All right, cool.
Yeah, this is where the mid-game composition for LGD truly shine. When you have a lead and you're able to just continue to force picks like this, you see Linfeng already burning his flash. The response for OMG is to try to overload on the top side, take down this tier 1 turret. But it might come at a pretty hefty cost as Linfeng is on his way, but it's going to be a 5v4, at least for the moment, in favor of LGD. The tower goes down, but now let's see what OMG can do about it. Niall goes forward with the ball breaker, but cannot find an ultimate on anyone just yet. 2-man decimating smash, and now Heng actually sends 2 away. This could be OMG's opportunity. They land the charm only onto the Ambessa. Sasa's forced a flash. YCX with a 3-man Pop Blossom, and here comes the re-engage. Sasa into the back line, picks up a double kill instantly, and now OMG are forced to flash away. There comes the cease and desist. It's on to Starry, and Sasa is lying in wait. It's a triple kill, and it's going to be 4-0 LGD.
And they even have an Otacon in 30 seconds. I just kind of want to see them push with 4 grubs with the siege composition. OMG, they almost make it happen with a Poppy ultimate, but LGD on the crackback, they have this Nico ultimate that just completely eviscerates the back line, and it was a large trade of summoner spells here. They get control of the top side as well. I mean, this right here, we were saying, okay, two-man knockup, Poppy ultimate, this should have been where we find them engaging, but Linfeng just isn't able to pull the trigger fast enough. The damage from Starry just isn't relevant, and then this huge Pop Blossom on top of the public execution just lights out here for OMG.
There's also a support Elise in the game at this point in the game. It's not picked up
True.
any kills. And that means that you are not a champion, really, at this point, as it's 4-0 on that fight. Dragon going to be started up by LGD as well. This is what we were hoping to see from this team of rookies that have shown promise, but never really getting a big win. This would be a very important series for them to take in terms of the hopes of them continuing on in the LPL. The Dragon gets secured. Heng looking for an engagement. It might just be a little bit too late, as here comes another big Pop Blossom. Once again finding 3 players here for YCX. Sasi now finally arriving as well. The Emperor survived from XQW is going to force the repel out of Moham, but it's all too late as Sasi continues to get absolutely fed on this champion. The Ambessa has himself a triple kill.
Double, triple kills here for Sasa, and LGD just look like they can do no wrong. 21 minutes, 17-2. This was the kind of gameplay that we wanted to see coming in from LGD on the day, and even kind of the gameplay that we were expecting all the way back in the promotion bracket that, unfortunately, that put them here in the group Nirvana. So now it's just a matter of closing out, man. 10,000 gold at this point. This looks like it should be a lot closer of a finish than we got in Game 1.
It's going to be the Otacon taken as well here for LGD. 10,000 gold, 21 minutes in. And talking about that format a little bit as well, Alk, we continue to mention the bottom 2 teams in this group get eliminated for both 2025 Split 2 and Split 3. If you finish towards the top 2, that means you actually get a chance to play for the playoffs, and that's something that a team like LGD would certainly like to have.
True. I do want to be a little hesitant about putting them in top 2 in this group. You know, Ultra Prime and RNG showed, I think, better quality games throughout some of their play in the promotion bracket. So, if we're being fair, OMG/LGD is not exactly top of the table, even for our group Nirvana pool. So, I totally agree in the fact that the format definitely means that every game matters. So, we'll have to see if OMG can kind of put up any of a fight here as Nio.
They did chunk out Nio pretty well, but Sasi with the public execution does a lot, but they finally do shut down the Vi. They land a knockup onto the Ambessa, who now does not have an ultimate. And here comes YCX with the Nico ultimate. Will she be able to find anything? Heng wall bangs Sasi in. A 2-man decimating smash comes in as well. Pop Blossom only finds the Scion. OMG are down 15 kills, but are still looking for a team fight. Heng going to get taken by XQW. Will be 2 kills once again going over, but the rest of OMG will be able to escape with a numbers even trade.
Okay, well, and this was all for a blue buff. Imagine what they'll do around a Baron. So,
not there
2 minutes
just
time
yet.
before that. Yeah, 2 minutes before that's going to be spawning. I don't have much else to say. I mean, there's probably a Caitlyn ultimate here. Oh, it's just barely off cooldown. Goddamn. Well, they're just losing fights on repeat now, and Linfeng hasn't even completed a second item. He's going to be able to maybe pick up this bottom lane wave and be finished with Leandri's, but there's already a Seeker's Arm Guard. This is feeling like, hey, last-ditch efforts here for OMG. Is there any last plays we can make before this game is over? And even around this blue buff, cool, you got Nio, but Sasi on this Ambessa just does way too much. So much Omnivamp, and it's just too much of a raid boss.
But does it make you wonder, just a little bit, Alk, what could happen?
Made me wonder about Game 3.
If one more fight goes OMG's way? Never mind. Never mind.
Now we come out of the replay and Hug's dead.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
It is 20-4. Graves, please. There's look. I know we're both North American residents. We're used to the copium of having to come back in games on the international stage, but we don't have to do that here. We're just international representation when it comes to the LPL broadcast.
It's 11K at the 24-minute mark, as we see the result. It looks like Heng just stepped on a trap, and that eventually resulted in his demise. Nice ultimate coming out from XQW as well. And now we wait for the Baron to spawn. That's kind of the timer that LGD seem to be playing on. I think OMG are more than content to give that up because they know that if they try to go for a fight, they're going to get aced.
And they just deal with this, with any objective, honestly, incredibly fast. Z or Caitlyn. So, exciting stuff, especially for an LGD roster that seemingly is going through a rebuild. You know, at the very beginning of the year, we saw them playing with Climber. They had Meteor waiting in the wings as their coach. Thought maybe, you know, one of the most historic junglers in the LPL being able to help a fresh new blood here would, you know, maybe bring in some veterancy, some tips, level up his baseline. But now with Nio, I will say, even in their loss, Nio definitely seems like he is not only, I think, more fluent in his gameplay so far, but has also been... Oh, my god, no, no, no,
XUW,
no,
he runs into
no.
a decimating smash. He's able to go golden. However, the keeper's verdict does send one away. Nio is in some trouble. You might have just cast a curse this man, Alk, as OMG are chasing the jungler for LGD down. XUW doing a lot of damage on the backside. Nio lives for so long.
Oh my god,
and
but
finally,
XUW...
will get taken down. Pop Blossom will pick up one. XUW with the two-man Emperor's Divine. And Sasa is invincible in this team fight. He will finish things off for LGD and secure themselves an ace.
There we go. It looked a little questionable there. XQW, he was like, guys, even after game one, I still got to make this game questionable for us. So he's going to move in. They've got 4 grubs. How much structure damage can they get down? It's 10 seconds before the next member in Moham, but these Caitlyn headshots are going to hopefully do something fierce.
They're going to try. They got 3 members at least to take the inhibitor. They will back off for now after that. The Baron is available, and Nio respawns in about 10 seconds. The 3rd Dragon for them, also a topic of conversation. It looks like instead it'll be resets and redeployments as LGD expand their gold lead. It's now over 12,000.
All right, so replay. XQW gets hit with this. Not necessarily blind. The fact that he still has vision there is really disturbing. And I like the idea of this, but look what happened. Look what Heng does here. Somehow he's able to hit the Nico away, so fine enough for me, but Nio just wastes so much time, lets his team get back into this fight. Where is Linfeng? Man, you're playing Ahri. We have W Flash. We even have our Spirit Rush. Oh!
Wait, that was the anti-synergy of all anti-synergy.
No, there is no waiting. There is no waiting. We are going next. We are getting ready for this next game. 25-6. There's a Baron. LGD, let's just take this damn objective and let's win the game.
They should be able to take this, no problem.
Please.
I mean, at this point for OMG, why not just go for a fight? Because you know you're probably going to lose anyway after this Baron goes down, but they're not even going to get there in time. As it looks like they'll use this timer to just get a little bit of mid-prio. Hung, not even in the opportunity to get for a steal, and Sasa just going to chase him down. Actually, no, the keeper verdict will get him away. And so it's now a 13,000 gold lead for LGD. They'll have the Baron for a little bit. They don't even want to go for the resets. They just want to try to end this game right now. They want to get to a game 3. Nio going to maybe spot out Hung. No, he's able to jump away back to safety as now the inhibitor is going to be under fire.
Okay, they've got a top lane wave here. Double super minions and Bessa plus this Caitlyn. You could always reinforce this. I think this should be just be the death nail, and we'll see if OMG can be a little creative and maybe find some angles.
Finds a charm here for Linfeng, but it's cleansed away instantly by Shaoye. There's the verdict, locks away 2. Sasa dashing into the back line. Another really nice Pop Blossom, though, from YCX, and that should do it. Heng is forced to run the wrong way, away from his base, away from the Nexus, which is where LGD will reside. We are headed to a game number 3, our second of the Nirvana stage, as LGD will win this one in just over 28 minutes.
Look, they got it done in half the amount of time almost it took for OMG to be able to win this one. And LGD able to close out after an incredibly dominant early game. One where OMG just felt lost, incapable of finding leads. And I like this is kind of the Jekyll and Hyde of so many of our Nirvana teams. The inconsistency, how one game we have some teams and some players that are looking on fire, and then the next just nothing. Nothing. No, there's just nothing for them to be able to find plays with.
It was that was a tough one, especially from all the praise that we were shouting towards for OMG. To then lose like that, it's not a great combination. As LGD, hey, they looked very good. And I think that the new jungler here again for LGD had a good loss, and then I think a very good win here in this one, and I think the real MVP as well, Sasa on the Ambessa. I mean, he was able to take over a ton of those mid-game fights and basically make this game unwinnable for them.
Oh yeah. So I'm excited. As much as I'm a Climber fan, Nio seems to be in the right direction, at least early on. We'll see if this continues to be the case. Typically, new additions really do pop off in some of their first games, just I think mostly due to the fact that teams weren't necessarily scouting for that player, so some loss in terms of some prep beforehand. But I am kind of tentatively very excited for this LGD team. We get to see those glimpses. It's games like this that are like, wow, Sasa, really great top laner coming in from LDL. Finally, we get a performance, and then I feel like Shaoye and YCX kind of holding down the fort yet again.
Yeah, it was a fun one here for LGD. It shows kind of like what they can do if they are given um, the opportunity to play a game. Like that's what LGD want to have out of their gameplay, right? Have the top side play well, have the bot lane kind of just be solid. I think YCX actually with a ton of really nice Nico engages in that game as well. It helps when your team is really far ahead to find those engages. Basically, anytime you land a multiple man CC, it just always results in a team fight win. But yeah, that's a good sign. As LGD, they pick up their first win in quite a bit, right? They dropped out of that last chance spot a little bit earlier than expected, and so they're definitely feeling good about themselves after that one.
Okay, producer Mickey, can we fly the last time in Group Nirvana graphic? Because I feel like we already have gotten there. We've just put your hand over the EDG triumphed over LNG. One of the teams with G in their acronym is going to win today, okay? And we have kept the 3-game tradition. So tradition trumps all. You know, we're returning to the promised land of every Group Nirvana game is going to go the distance.
You know, they don't get a lot of like best of series in total, right? So they got to make sure they get the most, they make the most of it, right? So getting that extra practice, hey, shout out to them. As XQW actually, very good game in this series, and this is a more standard gold graph. It's like climbing the mountain here, as
up and to the right.
Yeah.
That's all I want to see. I wish I got a picture of those damage numbers because I'm very confident at the very least XQW has 3 of their members combined. Maybe if you throw in support, that's 4, which is
he did a lot.
Pretty disgusting. He did a lot of work this game. To be fair, Linfeng was this play in particular. I know it's the very first play of the game, but this one just like broke my soul because we get the double auto cancel here from Heng. We get just why as Ahri players are we doing this? I'm so sad, man.
Yeah, I mean the thought process was good, right? Charm him up, try to get some damage down before Heng shows up, but then the extra dash forward just wasn't enough. And a great game from Nio again as well on this Vi. And if you just get to take a look at some of the replays that happened in this game, it's gonna be a lot of LGD highlights here in this one as everybody really came to play.
Yeah. Really exciting stuff, I think, for LGD in the fact that these are the games that kind of give us a lot of hope. In particular, if Nio can continue to kind of bring up his level and I think generate some more synergy with the team, this could be the fix that they were looking for. Because before this moment, LGD were a team that could garner some early game leads, but necessarily couldn't close out every single game. Nio seems like he has at least not really missed a beat playing in the LDL for a little bit of time after his stint in Rare Atom last year.
Yeah, it's great to see a rookie come in and really fit in. Obviously, this is the Nirvana group, so you have to put a little asterisk there. It's not the level of competition that you might be facing up against like a top esports or a BLG, but certainly tier 1 competition, obviously, as that's what all these teams are currently in. And so for Nio, I'm sure it feels good for him to be a big difference maker in this game. And you know, sometimes for a sub, it's not just the ability that, oh, this person is going to be better 100%. Sometimes just having a slight difference in play style, a different voice in the room, can be enough to try to find a spark for a team. And so maybe LGD have found themselves something here with this setup.
I did want to also mention that, you know, kind of finishing up on Nio is that he did kind of lose his spot, not necessarily by his own play. Like, yes, RA weren't the best team last year by any stint of the imagination, but Ari just disbanded and left the league. It wasn't like he got to really kind of play out his last split, or they knew that this was going to be coming in. So lost the spot because there are just fewer spots now in the LPL, and hopefully with some fresher faces, some younger, more raw talent, we can see that from LGD. You know, him and Shaoye returning members from LPL last year. We've got a bunch of call-ups from the LDL, and that'll be kind of the test here as we go into our third and final game. Are we just giving XQW our player of the series or player of the game? Is that cool or?
The damage number
Sauce
suggested.
at the back end. Sauce at the
Yeah,
back end picked up a lot of kills,
Sauce
which
in
was
the
really
team
cool.
fights was good. Honestly, YCX as well, and then Nico, like, there's a couple of people we could give this award to, but I feel like with the audience vote, seeing the damage charts and everything like that, it might just be XQW. There it is.
Yay! Let's go. Let's go. One of our favorite three-letter acronym players. Great job, man.
There's a couple of them here in the LPL. Two of them in this game on the same team as well, which is it's been a fun little experiment here. But hey, after the game that XQW had in game number 1, it's nice to see him bounce back as we have evened things up here in our first series of the day, as we are in our second matchup overall here in Group Nirvana with LGD evening things up with OMG. 1 apiece at this point. When we come back from this break, we'll get the decisive Game 3 draft, and we'll see which of these teams will pick up their first win of Split 2.